What's happening, everybody? It is Trey here. I'm joined again by my dad, Sean. And today on Reactions to the Classics, we are up to another Bob Dylan classic, Blonde on Blonde. We previously reviewed Highway 61 and Bringing It All Back Home. Absolutely love those records. So we're really excited to get up to Blonde on Blonde. Never listened to it, so this is all new to us. And if you're new to the channel, y'all, here at Reactions to the Classics, we do detailed track-by-track reviews of some of the most classic records of all time. So if that sounds like something interesting to you, be sure to hit that big red subscribe button. And if you'd like to link up with our community more, we have a link to our Facebook group down below, as well as our Patreon if you'd like to support us and get some perks yourself in the process. All that fun stuff to say. Let's dive into this thing.
That's Dylan's 7th studio album. It was released on June 20th, 1966. Released just 6 days, Trey, before he had his motorcycle accident in Woodstock, New York. This thing is number 9 on the Rolling Stones top 500 albums of all time. It peaked at number 9 in the US, number 3 in the UK. And the recording sessions for this album started in New York in October of 1965 with Dylan's normal backing band, which became The Band, and they just had major issues. They recorded for quite a few weeks and only got one song out of all of that time, One of Us Must Know. So then they ended up moving to Nashville to record the rest of the album, and with Bob went Al Kooper, Robbie Robertson, and several session musicians in Nashville.
So they removed the partitions that would separate the guys out. Dylan wanted a more ensemble, close live act as opposed to feeling like, as one of the members quoted, they were 90 miles apart. Dylan actually had a piano installed in his hotel room in Nashville, and Cooper would come over, play it as Bob would come up with the lyrics, and then before rehearsals the next day, Cooper would clue in the other band members as to the direction that Bob was going.
Cooper talked about how the album came about and the song titles. Really, Dylan didn't have any of those for the most part, and Johnson just asked him, what do you want to name this one? And Cooper said he was just popping off a line after, we'll call it this, we'll call it that. Even on the album, there's a lot of speculation, Blonde on Blonde. I'm not going to get into it because it's about 4 different stories, so who knows. The critics at this time, and even now, recognize this, many as the best 14-month run of any artist ever. You had Bringing It All Back Home, you had Highway 61, and now Blonde on Blonde in 14 months. This
ridiculous.
This is a double album, which is something we didn't mention up front. So sit back, strap in, because we got 14 tracks on your way. The opening track, Rainy Day Women, number 12 and number 35. This thing reached number 2 in the UK, number 7 in the US. Controversial song, Trey, because the title never appears in the song itself, but there is a chorus that says everybody must get stoned. So of course this thing gets labeled as a drug song, gets banned in the UK and the US on some radio stations. The song is essentially a simple blues progression. The parts played by the trombone, tuba, piano, bass, drums, and tambourine remain practically the same in all of the verses. Much laughter, you can hear it in the background, like they're having a really good time.
Yeah, it has a very live feel to it, and I thought it was an interesting way to start the record off. It talks about many types of people, outcasts and people that go against the grain that will get stoned. People go against them for not conforming, and I think that is a theme that's prevalent throughout a lot of Bob's music. And even though it was in a more laid-back type of manner here with the live, laughter and all that, he still brought a strong message across, which is what I appreciated.
I like this song as well. We're going to get to a point in this album where there's a 4-run track that's tremendous. You don't want to start off that way, so it's a good way to begin the album.
That leads us into Pledging My Time. This is a 8-bar blues song influenced by guys like Muddy Waters, Robert Johnson.
Of course, Robert, he's everywhere.
Exactly, and this is really highlighted by Dylan's harmonica use. 10 of the 14 songs on this record start off with this harmonica playing, and there was about midway through the song a really loud harmonica note that Bob plays, and so I think that was the takeaway for me in the highlight of this track.
Yeah, what it's about, the lyrics center on a guy hoping that his girlfriend will come through too. He's pledging his allegiance to her. Imagery includes the singer's poison headache, thought of the relationship not working out, and the stuffy room where everyone's gone except for him and his girlfriend, and he can't be the last to leave.
I love that line.
I like this song. It's actually one of my least favorites on this album, which doesn't
I'd
mean
agree,
it's
yeah.
bad at all. It's just like, this is a stacked album.
Yeah, exactly. There's so much heavy, unbelievable tracks that this one almost kind of fades to the background.
That brings us to the start of this 4-song run I mentioned a couple songs ago, Visions of Johanna. It's number 413 on the Rolling Stones top 500 songs of all time. And this was cut in a single take on Valentine's Day 1966. Many critics think this is his most haunting love poem that he ever wrote. It is fire.
Oh, it is one of the best Dylan tracks. I put it up there with It's Alright, Ma, and Like a Rolling Stone.
That might be, I mean, it's right there below those, but that's good. I like that.
It's top 3 for me. It's such a beautiful track, and it details his girl Louise.
Yes.
And it contrasts her with Johanna, who is almost like a unattainable muse, a figure that...
The ideal woman.
Yeah, exactly. A figure that Bob sets up in his mind as something that is perfect, but at the end of the day, even when he's with Louise, he still is thinking of Johanna. And there's so many beautiful lines in here. It's 7.5 minutes long, and this is one of the better musical arrangements on this record as well. A very light sense. The drumming here is phenomenal, and just all in all, just a fantastic track.
Now the final track on side 1, One of Us Must Know, parentheses, Sooner or Later. This is a straightforward song about a broken relationship, either with a woman or folk music. You can kind of dissect it either way you want. He has a defensive attitude in this thing. I didn't mean to treat you so bad. You don't have to take it so personal. I didn't mean to make you so sad. You just happen to be there. That's all. This song just plays over and over in my head. I think it's just an excellent musical arrangement on top of the lyrics.
Oh, absolutely. This is one of my favorites on the entire album. One of Bob's better vocal performances, I'd say.
I agree with that.
On the record. And again, a lot of the themes on this record deal with love, which is a little bit of a difference in the more poetic,
definitely different from Highway 61. Yeah.
So it showed that, man, Bob can really throw down a love song from a variety of different points of view. Here he's more defensive. On other tracks he's more longing or complimentary of a woman, and so just again another fantastic track. Side 2 starts with I Want You. This was actually the last song recorded for the record, was a single that charted in both the US and the UK. The song starts off talking about a man that's with the undertaker, with the lonesome organ grinder. There's weeping fathers, mothers, Queen of Spades, dancing child with his Chinese suit, and the song is accentuated by the repeated chorus, I want you.
And that will play in your head, boys and girls, let me tell you.
Oh, it was infectious. Again, one of my favorite tracks. I mean, once we hit Visions of Johanna, Bob is just churning off classic after classic here. And again, this is just another beautiful love song, and highlighted by some fantastic harmonica playing as well.
I will go and echo everything that Trey just said. He's absolutely correct. Now we have Stuck Inside of Mobile with the Memphis Blues again. They've recorded this in 20 takes, all in one day. They said Dylan just kept reworking the lyrics, changing things around, basically about the pain he had in spectating everything he saw there that was going on around him. This has become my favorite song on this album. It has. It's fantastic. It's a movie target. It's tremendous. It's got a great story, musical arrangements. Great. Dylan is point on his lyrics. Oh yeah, it's another 7-minute track or so, and essentially he's stuck inside a mobile and he wants to do anything he can to get out, but people are just making it really difficult for him. The refrain is fantastic. Mama, can this really be the end? To be stuck inside a mobile with the Memphis Blues again, that's just, again, another fantastic line that gets stuck in your head. So one of the better tracks on this record. Track 3 on side 2 is a Leopardskin Pillbox Hat, one of the more satirical and just honestly hilarious songs that is on the record. It's about taking a little jab at people's materialism and fashion in general, and I'll let you kind of explain a little about what the lyrics are. He goes to the doctor tells him to break up with her or leave her, then he finally catches the doctor with her. Then he goes over and he sees the garage door open and he's upset because not that somebody was getting it on with this woman, but that the pillbox hat.
Yeah, he just, throughout the song, he keeps talking about this woman's, he's infatuated with her leopardskin pillbox hat. The way he delivers the line is just like almost Manning, with your leopardskin pillbox hat. I just thought it was funny.
Yeah, it's an amusing song. Side 2 ends with Just Like a Woman. It peaked at number 33 on the charts in the US. It features a lifting melody backed by delicately picked nylon string guitar and piano, resulting in arguably, Trey, the most commercial track on the album. It's an exploration of female wiles and vulnerability and was widely rumored to be about Edie Sedgwick. A few of these songs were, including the previous one. Andy Warhol's actress, maybe girlfriend, whatever. They had a bad split up no matter how you want to look at it. It was also rumored to be written about Dylan's relationship with Joan Baez.
Yeah, so a bunch of different interpretation lenses one can look through here, and the gist of the song is he's talking about this woman more sharp and critical in a sense, because he says she aches just like a woman, loves just like a woman, takes just like a woman, but she breaks like a little girl. So at the end of the day, she is either emotionally vulnerable or can't handle the stresses of life and breaks down as a child would. This is the best I've heard Bob's vocals. Obviously, he's not noted for that. It's more so the lyrics, but again, another poignant take on love and relationships and beautiful musical arrangement.
Maybe his best singing of any of these 3 albums that we've
I'd agree.
done. Now we're to side 3. Starts out with Most Likely You'll Go Your Way and I'll Go Mine. It's done in kind of a bluesy style, up-tempo. It's about a man who's in a relationship that ends in a somewhat drawn-out way. His girl says that she loves him, but says that she doesn't deserve him. The situation kind of just plays out to this ridiculous point where she ends up cheating on him. You don't deserve me, and then she cheats on him. It's kind of a way to be like,
Yeah, so at the end of the day, Bob decides, hey, you go your way, I'll go mine. And at the end of the day, as time passes, they'll be able to figure out who was right, who was wrong, and just be able to move on in life. One of the better tracks on side 3 for me, and again, just continues this run of fantastic songs. Temporary Like Achilles is our next track. This is highlighted again by Dylan's harmonica playing and Pig Robbins' piano playing. Oxymoronic song, Temporary Like Achilles. Achilles is warrior who's really powerful, but of course he has his Achilles heel, and he's one of the fiercest warriors there is, but Bob's saying, hey, he'll be temporary because his ex-lover is now with this rival who Bob says is Achilles, but at the end of the day, he thinks she'll leave him just like she left him, and he wonders, why in the world are you with Achilles? So a solid track.
Yeah, for me, it's middle of the road on this album, not bad. The story is pretty good. As with all Bob stuff, I definitely recommend reading the lyrics. You don't always have to do that with the stuff we review, because some of it's pretty simple, but this one you'll appreciate much more if you read the lyrics before you listen to the song. Now we have Absolutely Sweet Marie, up-tempo blues style, kind of a pure Memphis style. Possibly some sexual overtones in there, Beating on My Trumpet and several other things. Contains what has been termed one of the most oft-repeated of Dylan's life lessons, the thought that to live outside the law, you must be honest. For me, it's an okay song.
Yeah, this isn't one that stands out as much, just because, I mean, as we've been going through, there's so many great
14 songs, so yeah.
There's so many great tracks, so being middle of the road on this album isn't such a bad thing. That'll take us right into Fourth Time Around. It has a musical composition that's similar to the Beatles' Norwegian Wood, which
very similar.
I know you'll get into that a little bit more, but it talks about a young romance gone wrong. Some interpret it as Bob's with a prostitute, and he doesn't have anything to pay her with, so he gives her a piece of gum. This was a highlight on side 3 for me, probably my favorite track on side 3.
Yeah, I agree with that, and I think there is the Beatles component. It sounds a lot like Norwegian Wood, as you said, and Lennon viewed it as a response to Norwegian Wood, because when Lennon wrote Norwegian Wood, he said he wrote it Dylan-esque, and what happens is Lennon becomes obsessed, thinking that Dylan's taking a shot at him. It becomes this thing with Lennon, and you can't really get over. Is it a parody? Is it just all in good fun? He doesn't really know, but A very interesting part of the song that you never get if you listen to it is that component.
And he notes at the end, I never asked for your crutch, now don't ask for mine. And that's really what got Lennon going in that 66, 67 range. So interesting just tidbit.
Last track on this side, obviously, Five Believers, kind of a Roadhouse blues song. It's really driven by the instrumentation. For me, it's one of the lower tracks on here. Robertson's guitar sounds great.
Yeah, McCoy's harmonica.
Buttrey's drumming.
Yeah, and I'd be right there with you. If I had to pick a least favorite, it'd be this song.
I agree, but it's not bad
at
all.
No, it's not. It's just it just kind of is guilty by being the last one left.
Well, we come to side 4. Sad-Eyed Lady of the Lowlands. One song on the entire side. It's 11 minutes. They come in the studio on February 15th. Kenny Buttrey, the drummer, talks about this. They get to the studio at 6 o'clock in the evening. Dylan tells them to go do whatever. They ate, they talked, they played games, they napped. At 4 a.m., so 10 hours later, Bob comes and gets them, says, let's cut this thing. So Buttrey talks about how the song's going on, and they never rehearse. That's the thing about Dylan. He never wanted to rehearse. So the musicians are kind of just, they're surprised as it goes along.
Yeah.
So he said after the second verse, he said, you can hear us kind of climax. We're really getting after it. And then he goes, and he just breaks on to another verse and another verse. And we just started laughing, going, how long is this thing going to go on for?
Dylan composed the song by a series of almost like lists where he'll ask rhetorical questions
that were never answered.
Yeah, about the sad-eyed lady of the lowlands, describes her in a detailed manner, talks about in ways of her life. This is written for his new wife, Sarah, at the time, and that's where some people think Lowlands, her previous last name was Lowndes. What a beautiful track. Bob likes to end them with end his albums. We had Desolation Row.
Yeah, with epic songs.
So I mean, just a fantastic way to end this monumental record.
Yeah, the only thing I'll say about it is if you can write a song, Trey, that's 11 plus minutes long, it never seems to drag out.
No,
and I'm enthralled the entire time by the story. So that is the best compliment I can pay.
Absolutely, yeah. It doesn't. It's not one where you're like, okay, look, can we wrap this up? It's like, okay, what's he gonna say next?
Yeah, where's this thing going?
Keeps you on the edge of your seat, and that'll take us to our favorite tracks. We've already mentioned a lot of them, but I mean, I love Visions of Johanna is going to be the top spot for me, Just Like a Woman.
For me.
I Want You. Sad-Eyed Lady of the Lowlands. I really see what everybody's saying, how this 3-album run is iconic.
Incredible.
I mean, you'd be hard-pressed to find any 3 albums consecutively that are going to rival this.
And before this, I'd never listened to any Dylan. He was before my time, so I am amazed at how good this run is.
Oh, it's just phenomenal. So for me, I like this better than Bringing It All Back Home. Not quite as much as Highway 61. Highway 61 is one of the handful of records I'd give it 10.
I'm right there with you on all of that.
And so, but for me, I mean, this was still just monumental for a double album to contain this many classic, unbelievable tracks. It's going to place really high. One of the best records I think we've reviewed. So I'm going to be at a 9.75 on this record. One that, with Bob's things, it's interesting because even though we listen to these a lot for the reviews, like there's going to be stuff to stew and dissect and ponder years down the line, which is something you don't get with a lot of artists.
I think that's a tremendous rundown. I'm just going to agree with everything that you said. I'm also going to give it a 9.75.
Ooh, there you go.
Just short for me of Highway 61. But as you said, like if you could just throw these 3 albums together and spend 2 weeks just listening to them, I might have a different take. It might even be higher, but Dylan's one of the biggest surprises for me so far of the artists that we've reviewed.
Oh yeah, it just phenomenal. Let us know what you think of Blonde on Blonde below. Where would you rank it in this his 3-album rock trilogy? What is your favorite track? And Dad, thanks for the research. Excellent stuff, excellent to dissect these tremendous poetic songs. And as I mentioned earlier, be sure to hit the big red subscribe button, y'all. We upload twice a week in a variety of genres, so there will be something for everybody. Happy listening, my friends. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next time.